Hi everyone, my name is Jumana and I'm a freestyle artist, and today we're gonna learn how to do watercolor galaxy. So we will be needing today brush, sketchbook, and a watercolor palette, of course. And we will start. Now first we're gonna be using the wet on wet technique. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna wet our paper. Don't overdo it, just slightly wet the surface so it can be moist when you add the colors. Now here you can get really creative. For the galaxy, you can use any color you'd like. I will be using warm colors, purple, blue, and a little bit of pink or maroon color. What I really love about watercolor is that you can be very creative, and the colors are just gonna mix and they're gonna create a beautiful effect. So let's start. Now first we're gonna slightly wet the brush. I'm gonna use this shade of blue. It's more of a navy blue. And I make sure I have enough water because I'm gonna add a light pigment. So I'm just gonna add those colors here. You know, just randomly anywhere. And I'm also gonna use purple. And I'll add a little bit of this color that is maybe dark pink, maroon color. I'll make sure as well you have two different glasses. One is for the warm colors and one is for the cool colors. Now I'm gonna add these just randomly. And with a clean wet brush, I'm just gonna blend these all together. If you see there is a lot of water here, you don't want it to come out. Just want to make sure to bring them this side. And if the paper bends, that is okay. You can always add some tape into it so that you could prevent it from bending, but that is okay if it bends a little bit. So see, by mixing it, okay. Now we started with a very light color. Now here we can add the pigment into it. Now here we have more of blue shade, so here I'm gonna add more blue to it. I'm gonna go more dark. Now here I'm not wetting my brush a lot. I'm putting more pigment rather than water, sorry. I keep doing the same, blending all the colors together. You can also use a wet brush, a wet clean brush, and just add the water to let the colors just blend. See, like you can see here the lines, they're not very well blended and you want to blend them. You can just simply take a clean wet brush and just add water. That's it. It's also gonna create this effect. Now here you can keep on adding more pigment and more color, depending on how dark or how saturated you want your galaxy to look like. I'm gonna add a little bit more color to it. I'm making sure to keep the space moist so that I could control the colors, also control the shades, shadows and highlights on the drawing, on the painting, while it's wet, because it's easier for me to control it while it's wet rather than when it's dry. There's really no right and wrong here. You can just feel free, be creative, and just add whatever color you want. Now I'd like to make this a little bit darker, so I'd like to add a black shade. And I'll only add it in some corners, so it could give it more depth and dimension. Just a little bit here. If you're a beginner, I would recommend you to take a sketchbook that has a very high density, a density that is not less than 300. It's the best for watercolor, so that you can add as much as water you want without worrying about the paper to bend. Now here I see it's a little bit light, so I'd like to make it even lighter. Just gonna use a dry, clean brush and just Of course, you're not restricted to use these shades or these colors for the galaxy. You can really be creative and choose, red, yellow. It's really up to you. Okay, so I think I'm done with this. Now I'll have to just patiently wait for it to dry before I can add some sparkles and stars to it. Now that we have waited patiently for it to dry, it's finally almost completely dry. Now we will be adding the stars. Now you can either use acrylic paint. Now the reason why I said we have to wait for it to completely dry, because when you add the color, any other medium on it, whether it's an ink or acrylic, it is going to blend with with the colors and it will not show. So you want to make sure it is dry so that the stars would show. That's about it. So as you can see, after the watercolor has all dried out, you will see there are some kinds of effects in here that makes it really beautiful. This is the beauty of watercolor. So really don't be scared of just taking the risk of, you know, just putting on colors. When it dries out, it actually gives you a very beautiful piece. So this is going to be our final piece. Thank you again for joining us, and stay home, stay safe.